Hey everybody, this is Vicky or Mama V out here on YouTube, coming at you with a very overdue update. And I have to apologize for that. I think it was before school even let out that I did my last update. And I'll get into where things are with me and everything else here right quick, because I need to get this out here. But let's jump into my stats. I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy or VSG weight loss surgery on March 13th, 2017 with Dr. Grover and team at Gundersen Health System in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Today is August 1st, 2017, so this will be my 20-week post-op update. And I started this whole journey with this team last August, so just about a year ago. I think it was like August 12th was my first appointment with the surgeon, and at that point I weighed in at 395 pounds, and day of surgery I was 366. This morning when I got on the scale I was at 296.8, and the last couple weeks I've been kind of fluctuating anywhere between 300 and this 296, depending on the time of day or the day. And I'm okay with that. I have really worked really hard the last couple months here to kind of come to terms with, you know what, so long as the overall trend is down, that's what matters. I'm not so focused on the number on that scale. I am really happy though that I am showing numbers that are under 300 right now. That's kind of got me on a high, so I'm gonna just kind of run with that. Things are definitely, I am seeing changes all over the place, and it's getting very obvious for me losing weight. Like I have like collarbones again. I have some cheekbones that are coming out. I actually have a jawline. It's crazy. I am needing to stack my rings like even more than normal. Like my this was a ring that I used to wear on this finger, and it's no longer. It's way too. It's just, yeah. These things are really loose. This ring I haven't been able to wear. This is the ring that my husband gave me when he asked me to marry him, and I haven't been able to wear that for at least 10 years. So that's really cool. But yeah, so I'm happy that I'm seeing stuff move through. My clothes are all very loose. You know, the sweater is more of a tunic than it is a sweater. And it used to be very tight. Excuse me. So what in the world has been going on? Let's see. This summer I feel like it's just flown by, and I can't believe that we're already in August. We have had festival upon festival that we've attended. My husband runs a part-time security company that's it's crazy. I try to just help to make sure that we've got the scheduling and the people all set up, and everybody's paperwork is in, and make sure hours are accounted for, etc. We just got done with the local county fair this past weekend, and on top of my regular full-time job, and I just, in the span of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, I put in 30 hours myself. So I'm tired. And we've got, he's double booked himself not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. There's a concert on one of the army bases by here, and then there's another little country town that's doing a tractor pull and stuff that he always does. So he's got to split his crew to go handle this. But then we should be able to relax for a little bit because it's kind of the summer winds down after that. But now we're into getting ready for school, and my son plays football, and he's in the marching band, and and he's his first year of high school, and I still have to take him school shopping for clothes and supplies and everything else. And man, oh man, he's a growing boy. And he's starting to finally grow taller. So he's coming into his body, which in some ways it's good, and in some ways it's like, where'd my baby boy go, you know? But that's okay. He's a pistol, and he's active, and he's a strong young man. So, like I said, I have to go get him taken care of, and then hopefully I can take a look at getting me at least a few pieces of clothing so that I can not have to be sitting here looking all frumpy. My hair is definitely, I'm shedding all over the place. My hair is so thin, and it's very noticeable, especially if I leave my hair all down. If I wear it up, it's not quite as noticeable, so this is kind of my due anymore. But yeah, this is extremely thin hair. Ever since I started, 21 years ago when I had my daughter, my hair started thinning then, but this is unreal. I do have some stuff growing back in though, which is why I have all of these flyaways, and I have to constantly tuck stuff behind my ears, but I know it's just part of the process, and I knew that this was going to happen, and this seems to be about the time frame that it does happen, anywhere in that 16 to 24 weeks, so I guess I'm, right in line with that. But otherwise, let's see, I wanted to talk about, with as crazy busy as things have been going for us, especially the last month and a half or so here, importance of food prep and importance of being able to speak up for myself when it comes to being able to carry a cooler along for me. And I'm not talking, I don't bring like a big cooler. I have a little, it's almost like a little fanny pack that I have that I can take and stick some cheese sticks, or what I did the first few nights of the fair is I actually packed some cheese wedges and some sliced ham that I would just roll around the cheese wedge, and that, a couple of those, and that was my dinner. Or I'm up on the protein drinks, at least in the morning, and this is what it was my breakfast today. I just haven't had a chance to throw my bottle away yet. But that really I typically drink that on my way to work, and sometimes I'll get the chocolate one and put it in a hot chocolate so that I have that kind of to sip on over the course of the morning. And otherwise then I just have to be very mindful. Now, with working the festivals and stuff that we have been working, and so much of our weekends are taken up with that in the summer, what I do and what I have found is that while festivals and fairs and stuff, you have all of your fried foods that you normally would have, your cheese curds, your fried Oreos, fried Twinkies, whatever. And of course you want to stay away from that stuff, the fry breads and all of that. But if you voice what you need, some vendors might actually work with you, and I had that experience. There was a guy that was doing kind of a specialty food booth, kind of like gyros, but what he had was sirloin beef tips that he was grilling up, and then he was putting them on like a bed of garlic mashed potatoes, or you could get a really thick French bread bun to kind of make like a Philly cheesesteak kind of thing. And then he had some vegetables that he was grilling up with it too, onions, peppers, and mushrooms and things like that. So I went and I just talked to him and said, I am very interested in buying some of your food, but I really don't want to have the potatoes and the or the bread. Could you just give me and I said, and I only need like half of a portion. And I said that I was on a very limited amount of food that I would eat, and I didn't want it to go to waste and blah 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 blah. And he was like, no, that's okay. He goes, I have just a thing for you. And he ended up giving me this little bowl that had about a cup of the sirloin tips in it, and I should have thought to take a picture, but I didn't think. And then, so I had about a cup of the sirloin tips that were grilled, so it was nice and tender and everything, and it was freshly done. And then a little bit of grilled onion, a little bit of grilled pepper, and some mushrooms with it. And he gave me that in a bowl that actually was about like this big, but by the time everything was put all in there. And he was normally charging for his meal like $15 for a serving of that. He charged me $5. Wow. And I was like, I am probably going to come back to you at least once over the next 4 or 5 days that we're here. And I just really appreciated that. And there were, at some of the other festivals and stuff, and not everybody was agreeable to do that. And so, I ended up, if I didn't have enough, or I didn't want to eat what I brought, because those fair smells and everything else get you just want to go down the midway and be able to feel like you're participating in the festival. So if they weren't willing to work with me, then I didn't buy it. And I didn't feel bad about it, because this is all about me taking control for me. And my husband and my kids, of course, they want the cheese curds galore and whatever. And not to say that I did have a bite of a cheese curd, and then I was kind of like, that didn't even taste good, which is weird, because cheese curds are like the thing, especially if you're from Wisconsin. Like, we have cheese on everything, right? But yeah, I don't feel like I missed anything from staying true to what I needed. I just had my little fanny pack with my food, and it totally saved us some money. I'm kind of happy about all that. Otherwise, what else? Oh, okay. The way that people treat me is noticeably different. And when I say noticeably different, it's, I'm kind of thinking that I was a little bit self-conscious and maybe even sensitive to this whole subject, but my son noticed that when, over this past weekend, when we went into to the local grocery store, that people were like holding the door open for me, and like offering to help me with stuff, when a couple months ago even that didn't normally happen. And I'm trying to raise my son to be gentlemen, and you hold the door open for people, and you help people with their bags, or if somebody drops something, you help them. And so most of the time he's pretty good. Sometimes I have to get on him. He's a typical kid, but most of the time he's pretty good. And for him to notice that people are kind of treating his mom different, is that it's pulling at me. And so we had a conversation about, sometimes people can just really, really suck. And I don't want him to be one of those people that suck. So we had kind of a conversation about that. And he has had his friends comment to him about how, wow, Willie, your mom is looking really good and everything else. And he's just like, I know. And I'm like, okay, now don't be getting all cocky and everything. I think it's the more that I'm going through all these changes, and the more that it is becoming more and more evident, is good. And I am becoming more comfortable with myself. I do have to say that I have noticed sometimes my husband gets a little bit more possessive, and a little bit more, I don't know, self-conscious of himself, maybe a little bit, I don't know. As people start to notice me a little bit more, and I don't know if it's insecurities on his part, even though he shouldn't have any reason to be insecure. I think that this is all just part of the journey of, weight loss and the complete body transformation that you go through. I was looking back at, memories come up on Facebook or whatever, and I can definitely see it now, especially in my face, pictures and stuff. And I don't know, in some ways it kind of makes me sad that I neglected myself for so long. And at the same time, I am excited to see where exactly this journey is going to go, and where am I going to end up, because who knows. I don't know, I almost feel like this is just the beginning, and that, like, I have my whole life ahead of me, which is weird, because I'm not a young little girl anymore. And I don't know, things are going good otherwise. I mean, I'm not having any issue with anything that I try to eat or drink. I have had a couple sips of root beer, and I have had a couple sips of some alcohol. Not that it has made a difference in either way. I know that I need to be very careful, and so I'm just being very, very mindful. And I don't think that I'm overdoing anything, and I think it's going okay. And yeah, so that's what's been going on with me. I'm gonna try to do a more kind of specific, I think I'd like to try to do a day in the life of me. So maybe this next week I'll try to do that. I don't know, we'll kind of see. If you hung out with me this long, thanks so much. And again, I apologize, it's been so long since my last update. If you want to subscribe, have at it. Come along on this journey with me. Stick around, and we'll see what else we can get into. If you've come back, thank you. You all are wonderful motivators, and I'm way behind on watching videos too, but summer is summer. So I hope y'all are doing well and taking care of you and staying focused on your goals and making things good for you. Hang in there, and I'll talk to you soon.